I'd like to call to order the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners Workshop Meeting for February 14th, 2024. Roll call.
President Zipfel.
Here.
Vice President Rogers.
Here.
Commissioner Andrus.
Here.
Commissioner Lestracco.
Here.
Commissioner Partha.
Here.
So we have a special husband and wife team tonight as a part of a recognition, and I'm going to ask that Brian and Kim Michael would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening.
Public for which it stands.
So everyone will learn in just a moment, if they don't already know, why we're recognizing Brian and Kim. And I will give I won't ruin the whole surprise if people don't know it yet, but let's just say that they're a very popular couple on ABC television, winners of the Great Christmas Light Fight.
Thank you, sorry.
Yeah. So we will, just a couple of minutes, we'll do a little special recognition. Very excited about it. Before we move ahead with that, though, there is a great friend of ours who is one of our favorite residents for sure, who regularly attends all of our meetings, and along with her husband. And Tina and Bob are regular attendees for not just the commissioner meetings, but volunteer for, runs and festivals and everything else. And I would say they're probably two of the most active residents in our entire township. And unfortunately, Tina in particular is not going to be able to join us for a couple of meetings, but hopefully she will be back soon. We're anxiously awaiting her and Bob's return, and we just want her to know, both of them know, but her in particular, that our thoughts and our prayers are with you. And we wish you a speedy recovery and can't wait to have you back here right in front of the dais here. So we're excited to have that. All right, so before we approve tonight's agenda, I need to announce that the board met in executive session to discuss real estate. And so with that, we can take a motion to approve. Is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Andrus.
Second.
Second by Vice President Rogers. Any questions or comments about the agenda? Hearing none, I'll call a question. All in favor of moving forward tonight with the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we can move forward with that agenda. Citizens' comments. Are there any agenda items to be discussed by residents? All right, not seeing anyone run to the podium. We're going to do some housekeeping before we get to our recognition. Consent items. Is there a motion to move into the record the consent items listed in your agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Rogers.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lestracco. Questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call. Let me note that it's the police report for the month of January, the VMSC ambulance report for the month of January, the HTMA meeting minutes of December 12, the North Penn Water Authority meeting minutes of December 19, and the Calmer Volunteer Fire Company monthly report for the month of January. With that, I'll call a question. All in favor of moving those into the record, say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, those are moved into the record. Okay. I'm going to ask if Brian and Kim would join me over at the podium. So I have to preface this recognition right out of the gate with a little point of geography. They are officially just at the edge of Hatfield, as I understand it. Yeah. But we were remarkably pleased to see that every time ABC put their name and their house location up on television, which was a lot, quite a bit, quite frankly, it was Hatfield, Hatfield, and Hatfield. And the more we saw it, the more we said, you know what, there's no way we're letting you and your family get away with not being recognized. So, little background for those people who don't know. So if you're fans of the ABC show, The Great Christmas Light Fight, that's the title of it. The show crowned the Michael family as winners of the coveted Christmas Bulb Trophy, which is across the room over there on the other side. And the win was long overdue recognition, as I understand it, for a family who's been bringing joy to our community, I know at least for 25 years. By the way, I live not that far from you. I've driven past your house, well lit up, for many, many years. So thank you very much for all of this. A well-deserved honor to Brian, his wife Kim, kids Joe and Elise, and all of whom would help and put, I'm not sure how you get your kids to help you to do things like that, because I can't. So it gets harder every year? Okay. All of whom helped to put up and take down the display. And Brian caught the Christmas decorating bug growing up in Bensalem. His family decorated inside and out every Christmas, and one year their apartment complex held a contest, and the Michaels won first prize. Sounds like that fed the passion for everyone. It did. Kim says yes, it did. Their amazing display is definitely a must-see for local families. If you've not seen it, we really encourage you to drive by or even park the car and to stop there. And you can walk right along their front walk and take a look at everything that's out there. The display features more than 100,000 lights and 700 vintage blow molds and some nifty do-it-yourself fixtures that engage people of all ages, including Santa and Mrs. Claus interacting with visitors, Santa's boots stuck in the chimney, and others. That's your favorite? So this year, the community response was so significant that they needed the help of traffic control from Calmer Fire Company, and we're remarkably proud to say that the members of the Calmer Fire Company volunteered to come out. Lieutenant Scott Sovakul and Fire Police Captain Bill Hodson are with us, if you'd like to come up as well. We want to say thank you. And so as you drove past, there were so many people that would drive along the roadway that it became absolutely necessary for Calmer Fire to be out there and to direct traffic. And so thank you for doing that. Otherwise, people would not have been able to enjoy it as much as they did. So, I'm taking a look at a quote that was Brian gave to us, that you are preserving Christmas past so that future generations can enjoy the magic of Christmas. And I have to tell you, that's a fantastic thought. Another great thing that happened is that they were able to raise some awareness with regard to ataxia. Brian's wife Kim was diagnosed, unfortunately, about 10 years ago. That causes nerve and impedes motor skills and speech. But the display features a QR code that linked to information about ataxia and opportunities to donate to the research. And really, that's a wonderful thing that you've done, not just for the community, but for those who have also been diagnosed. So you can definitely read more about the Michaels family, amazing display in the next issue of the Hatfield Connection. Those of you who don't know, that is our publication that comes out a couple times each year. So on behalf of Hatfield Township, I want to say thank you. We have a couple of things for you, or one thing in particular. This I can read without my glasses on. So this is a wall frame. It's to the Michael family. Thank you for bringing us so much light and joy to our community for so many years. And for those of you who maybe can't see it from a distance, I know just from watching the show, my wife and I watched it when it aired. This is the picture that they took just after they gave you the award, right? And so it's at their house. And so it's just a little thank you for bringing so much joy to Hatfield Township. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much. All right, it's short. Good evening, honorable commissioners and attendees. Thank you for the generous recognition for our big win on ABC's The Great Christmas Light Fight. My family is truly humbled. We are very proud to have represented Hatfield, Towa-Menson, North Penn, Montgomery County, and all of Pennsylvania on a national television show. Although the recognition is greatly appreciated, please understand it is not the motivation behind our Christmas display. Our inspiration comes from people like you, the members of our shared community. Our reward is seeing the smiling faces of all ages that visit our Christmas display every year. In our episode of Light Fight, I said our lights make you remember all your Christmases in the past and think about the ones you're going to have in the future. We know you all visit because the lights bring you joy. We know you visit because the lights allow you to reminisce about fond experiences, your friends, and your family members from your Christmas past. And we know you visit because the lights create brand new memories that will carry on into the future. This is what truly motivates us. I'd like to take a moment to thank a few people who made this accomplishment possible. First, thank you to my wonderful wife, Kimberly. You really are the light in my eyes and inspire me to be a good father and husband. And you put up with my Christmas light obsession. I love you. Thank you to my son, Joseph, and my daughter, Elise. They cannot be here tonight because they're working or away at college. I'm proud that my fondest memories from our display are that both of them are a part of it their whole entire lives. I'm proud of them both. Thank you to the entire local community, Hatfield and beyond. We've had visitors from everywhere, for supporting and visiting our display. We truly do share our hobby with you to make memories and to create joy. Thank you to our neighbors. We know that for just a very short while each year, the neighborhood gets a little busy, a lot busy this year, as these guys can attest to. And we appreciate their support and understanding so we can bring joy to the community. I want to especially thank the Colmore Volunteer Fire Department. Your generous donation of time and resources allowed us to continue display this past year and ensured safety for all the visitors that came by. I don't think we could have did it this year without you. We really couldn't have. So thank you for doing that. Kim and I are truly appreciative. I also want to thank Zach and Chris Depew, who also served as traffic safety staff on nights when the Colmore department was busy doing other things that are important to the community. Their commitment is a testament that selfless volunteerism still exists today in our places where we live, work, and play. Thank you to the leadership of Towa Township as well for their support of our display and the use of traffic control devices that they provided during the season. Our interactions together illustrate how local government can get involved with its citizens. Thank you to Hatfield Township for adopting 102 Kimberly Way as your own. We know we are on that odd border place between Towa and Hatfield and are proud to be members of both communities. It's a great place to live and raise our family. Finally, thank you once again to the Board of Commissioners for your recognition. Our family appreciates your servant leadership to the community and your roles as commissioners. Finally, Kim and I would be very appreciative if you could take a moment to visit the National Ataxia Foundation website to learn more about the disease that has greatly impacted her life as well as the lives of our family. Despite it being Valentine's Day, by the way, how many of you are in the doghouse for being here instead of it with your spouses or significant others? Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from the Michael family. Thank you.
I know that all the work that was done by Calmer is probably not just the three of you, but notwithstanding, we have 3 Hatfield Hero medals that we would like to give each one of you. Thank you to all 3 of you and to the entire Calmer Fire Company and family. We really appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Okay, so one of the things we always say is there's no better way to say thank you than to embarrass people a little bit by forcing them into the well of right in front of the dais to have pictures. Sure. So if you would join us, that would be great.
Bob, why don't you guys all hop in this one?
Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Put her on a Zoom. She called me about, right before Christmas.
Thank you so much. Well, yeah, she's doing something.
Yeah.
I know that. She never told us that. See?
Helped her succeed.
Back for this semester.
Jake, that's a tough, those are big shoes to follow. There's no doubt about it, but you are on deck. Let me introduce Sheikh Anwar Muhammad, great friend of ours. He's been here many times before, president of the Ambler branch of NAACP. He is here to share with us some Black History Month, a Black History Month promotion. Thank you for coming, by the way. Really.
Here it is the whole time. I thought I was the favorite resident. Caught you guys. Caught you. So, great evening. My name is Sheikh Anwar Muhammad. I am the president of the Ambler branch of the NAACP. We came back in September. I actually have a letter to the editor. I didn't know they put it in the paper, but I'm pleased. I have a copy of it I would like to read, dealing with Black History Month. And then I have a personal invitation. All right, Black History Month is upon us, and its richness of Black culture unfolds beyond the constraints of a mere 28, or in this special year, in a special year like this, 28 days. Blackness, both ancient and timeless, shapes our traditions, cultures, inventions, and genius, leaving an impact that touches us all. In celebrating Black History Month, we take a moment to acknowledge the beauty within Black culture. The world is pausing to recognize and appreciate the profound influence that Blackness has had on our lives. It is a chance for everyone to step beyond their usual boundaries, exploring and understanding significant contributions of Black history. This month serves as an open invitation to learn more, stepping out of our comfort zones to embrace the wealth of Black history. Like any meaningful relationship, this mutual exchange of knowledge fosters a better today and tomorrow through understanding and appreciation. Wishing you an enlightening Black History Month filled with exploration and appreciation. Enjoy the journey. Your brother and servant, Sheikh Anwar Muhammad, President, Ambler Branch, NAACP. So I am a strong believer in any relationship, for that relationship to bloom and blossom and be amazing. It takes a mutual exchange of information. I get to talk to you, or did, about the importance of Black History Month. Now, I do not like Black History Month in this context. It's history, right? But I understand its importance on how it can catapult one into things and stepping out of their comfort zone to looking into cultures, right, or a culture that is different from your own. So I love these opportunities to show you how amazing people like myself are. Now, this week coming, the Ambler branch of the NAACP has an amazing event. I know our chief is scheduled to be there. And this is an open invitation to you all, so you can't say that you weren't invited. All right. So Thursday, the 22nd at 6 p.m. at the Ambler Movie Theater. Been doing a lot of events with the Ambler Movie Theater. We are doing a Black History celebration, movie/reception. There will be some young people have made some Black History projects. They'll be on display. We have vendors. We'll be watching a movie. The movie is actually Red Tails, which is about the Tuskegee Airmen. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that. Now, that's not the special part. The special part is it's free. Yes, the movie is free. You get to come, you get to see the movie for free. Popcorn, small popcorn be $3. Listen, can't beat that. I love the movies. I love Black history. So win-win for myself. I hope I get to see some of you there to come attend and be a part of the celebration with us. I will be back. I have a lot of things coming down the pike. I'll be sending a lot of things out. A few things coming. We have an event for Women's History Month on the 21st. I'll send that information out, or come and give you a personal invitation to that as well. And our gala will be far away, but we'll be selling tickets starting at the event November 2nd, the Freedom Fund Gala for the branch, our biggest fundraising celebration, right? Now, I will be remiss in my duty as the president of the NAACP to not briefly talk about the oldest and boldest civil rights organization in this country, which is the NAACP. So that's why I'm a representative of the president of a branch of the NAACP. So I am the civil rights leader in this area. Our jurisdiction extends from Hatfield all the way down to Upper Dublin. If it's easier for you, by school district, North Penn School District, Wissahickon School District, Upper Dublin School District. I believe that's all I have for you this evening. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate the invitation. And I hope to see some of you there. I know I'm going to see some of you there. I'm looking forward to it. All right?
Thursday, the 22nd.
Thursday the 22nd, 6
Ambler
p.m.
Movie Theater.
Ambler Movie Theater, downtown. What is it, East Butler Pike? Is that what it is? Haha, I think that's it too. I will give these to you.
What's the time?
Say what?
Time?
6 o'clock p.m. 6 p.m. I have a few awards to give out before, but we'll be starting pretty prompt because the movie is, pretty lengthy. All right. So thank you for your time. Have a great evening. No, not here? Yes. No, not awards for him here. But thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sheikh. We really appreciate you coming out and sharing that with us and organizing especially the 22nd. Sounds like a great event. Forward to it. Okay. Okay, Pete, HTMA budget overview. And we acknowledge you do not have to steal the show as much as the last two people or groups that were recognized. We understand that yours is a very different role that you're about to share with us. So come on up if you would. Pete Dorney is our Executive Director of the Hatfield Township Municipal Authority. He's going to give us the budget overview for the upcoming year.
President, too, I think we should probably let the Michaels family know that they can leave and it
Oh,
won't be
yeah,
disrespectful, 'cause
No, you lasted more than most. Jake, have a great night. You've lasted more than most people we've recognized. We really appreciate it.
You're
No,
kicking
no.
out my audience.
We just cut your audience down by 20%.
This is going to be exciting.
we would leave if we're not getting paid, believe me. This is our job.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here again. Another year has passed us by, but I think I've been here probably 3 times this year for awards for our longevity employees. So this is getting a little familiar. To the 2 new members, I look forward to inviting you over to our plant for your tour. It'll be the highlight of your tenure here on the board to come visit our sewer plant. We'll do that when the weather gets a little bit warmer, though. I think I remember the one time we were there, it was like 20 degrees and windy, and nobody really wanted to walk around. So I think you all have a copy of our budget, and I think you all got a copy of my 4-page dissertation on why sewer rates are raising, not only in this area, but our sewer rates. If there's any questions on that, not necessarily tonight, you can give me a call and I can go over some more detail. But in summary, if you have the time, I'll just quick summarize why some of the rates are increasing, why the rates are increasing. For those who aren't really familiar, the major push for wastewater treatment started in the early 70s with the passage of the Clean Water Act. That's when most of the treatment plants were upgraded or new plants were built, including ours. We were just a tiny little plant that started in 1965, but when 1972 came along, that's when the major expansions came. However, at that time, there was tons of federal money and tons of state money to help pay for these things. 75% funding in some cases from the federal government, 12.5% from the local government or the state government, and then the local government had to come up with 12.5%. A lot of that 12.5% came from new development, tapping fees, front foot assessments for the sewer lines. So the cost of building the plant was really not overly borne by the residents. So now here we are 50 years later, 35 to 50 years later, 40 years later, and most of all the plants in the region are in the same boat. They were all started around the same time. 50 years is a long time for wastewater treatment plants. I'll call them wastewater plants instead of sewer. Sounds more professional. So things are wearing out. Things have to be upgraded. In our case, our biggest project that I've seen in my tenure is the upgrade of the electrical grid system. The entire grid in our treatment facility, which is a 1,500 kVA system, transformers, switchgear, smaller transformers, has to be replaced. And it's not really a job we can do all over a long period of time, because a lot of the new equipment that comes out today isn't compatible with old equipment that's already there. So things don't integrate together like they should. That's probably done purposely, but it's progress, it's technology. So we have to design an entire new grid system for the plant, run all new wires throughout the plant, replace all this new equipment. It's a very expensive endeavor. We're being told it's going to cost between $12 and $15 million. A lot of that cost is because prices have gone out of control over the past 3 or 4 years with this type of equipment, switchgear and the transformers. They've doubled and tripled in cost over that period of time since we started looking into this project. So that's the big project that we're looking ahead to right now. We have talked with Representative Fitzpatrick, we've talked with Representative Malagari, we've talked with Senator Collette to try to get their support, and they are willing to support our endeavor to get a number of grants that are out there for this type of equipment. We have grants into the state, we have grants into FEMA, and we have a couple more grants that are going into the state and the federal government for as much money as we can get for that particular project, the electrical grid project. But that's the big one coming down the line for us. And then just the plant itself, the superstructure in the plant starts to wear out. Now, ours isn't too bad yet because we upgraded in 1985. So some of the equipment is newer than 1972, so it's a 15-year difference there, which makes a big difference with some of the equipment. The large mechanical equipment is still in fairly decent shape. The large concrete tanks they're still in fairly decent shape. So compared to other plants that are in really rough shape, we're a little bit ahead of the game there. But the electrical grid is, like I said, the big project that's coming down the pike, and there's nothing we can do about it. We could try to delay it till things start to break, but the problem with some of this equipment is it's 2-year delivery time. So once we bid this, and once we design it and bid it and get it out there, we have to wait 2 years just for the equipment to show up. Some of these equipment used to be 3-4 months, and now it's up to 2 years because all the major big players are buying this stuff up because of the electrical cars and putting substations in for that all over the country. But anyway, I don't want to digress on that. So we're not asking for a huge increase this year. We're looking at 4% this year to get us over this hump for this year, which is about $1.30 a month, I think. And we're not asking for a big increase because we want to wait and see what's going to happen with the grant applications that we have in. We should know by about August how we're making out with those grant applications. That's usually when they award them. We had one rejected last year for a flood wall that we're putting in. We're resubmitting this year FEMA. We worked with FEMA to get a better application into FEMA. They're optimistic that we could get something out of this, but we have I guess you'd almost call it a headhunting grant firm that works with us that is looking to all these different applications. So like I said, we have 3 applications in right now. One of them is for 1.4 million, one of them is for 975,000, and the other one is for 10.5 million. That's the big one with the federal, actually that's with the state government. But there has been some money loosened up for infrastructure, and we're hoping that we can get some of that money for infrastructure. it would go a long way towards helping us out. We do have a construction reserve right now, but it's not near enough for what we're going to have to use eventually to get this project done. So that's where the budget stands right now, and that's what and the board is asking for, is the 4% increase. Questions?
Couple of quick questions.
Sure.
4%, see if Jerry's going to laugh at me if my math is terribly off, equates to roughly about $15.60 increase annually for each household. Is that right? Did you say it was
12 times $1.30?
$1.30? Is that what you said, $1.30? So it's a $15.50 increase. Okay. And you probably hear this from me every time because I'm always interested to know. Any of this is a result of unfunded mandates that come from the feds or the state. Any mandates that have come down that have impacted these changes that are coming?
Not for this budget increase, is
Right.
that?
No, but the upgrades that you're anticipating, those are because of mandates from the feds or the state?
No.
Okay.
No. We know there's one coming in 5 years that's going to be an unfunded mandate, but we have 5 years to plan for that one.
Okay, all right. I always like to ask because I'm looking to find out if it's traditional wear and tear and maintenance, or is it some other federal or state agency that's coming in to tell us that we have to do
Gotcha,
something and
right.
then making us pay additional money, even though they came up with the rule, but then they didn't help us fund it. So that's why I'm always asking.
Right, no, this is just, the transformers are from 35 to 50 years old. And
Got it. Okay.
Pete, if a transformer or something were to fail between now and when the new equipment arrives, what kind of spares? What kind of backup plan is there?
what kind
If you
of
have a failure, if you have a failure between now and when the new equipment arrives, what's your backup plan?
Well, we have two separate sources that come in. So we have 2 of each
Okay.
coming into the plant. So worst case scenario, if both trains failed, we have generators. We have 3 generators that run the plant themselves, and we could rent generators if we wanted to put bigger ones in instead of the 3 little ones that we have in the plant. So basically, that's what we have now is 3 sources of electric, 2 parallels exactly the same. We could run on one unless they both went down for some reason. If heaven forbid something catastrophic happened, but then we would have to run as much as we could on generators.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Commissioners, just as a housekeeping item, just so we're all clear process, there's new commissioners. The sewer authority runs on a fiscal calendar of April 1, which is why we're talking about it now. So every February or March, Pete will submit the budget to the township. The budget itself is developed by the sewer authority board members, which Ralph Harvey's here is one of them. They're responsible for developing a budget. The commissioners ultimately, though, approve the budget because it's considered a component. That's why, and the commissioners have been here a while. We see Pete every time around this year to present. So the budget goes into effect April 1, so it has to be approved by the township prior to that.
Are we anticipating this will be on our next agenda for action?
Yes, so I would, exactly, 2 weeks from tonight.
Thank you, not only for coming out and giving us the summary, but, one of our many unsung heroes in our township. Thank you very much for everything you and your staff do. I've been there enough to know that it's a vocation that you have there. It's not just a regular job, so we greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Pete, one other thing too, and Mr. President, sorry for cutting you off, but I think it's important for Pete. Even with these increases, Pete, I know you do, and we have data showing where HTMA's rates are compared to other authorities throughout the region, and HTMA is always within the bottom 15% as far as rates go throughout the metropolitan area, correct?
That's correct. And if you look on the second page of your budget that I presented, you'll see some of the local area rates and what they are. Upper Gwinnett, I have on there, Tolmenson, Franconia, and how much lower. I mean, Upper Gwinnett's the next closest, and their rate, I think, is $475 or $480 a year. And they're always giving us competition for the lowest in the area, especially for people that a facility that does what we do. We're not just a wastewater treatment plant. We're also a regional disposal facility with an incinerator, uh, which also helps the township as far as bringing in some revenue to offset the costs. But that's another reason why our rates are so low. We want to try to keep that going too. That takes money too.
Right.
Those industry, the market pressures that you're facing, every other authority is facing the same.
Absolutely.
Right, so
Well, you've seen, I mean, Tomensa just raised theirs $140 a year. A Perquinit was $75. And, you all know what's going on with privatization and seeing articles about that, and some of the rates of those, $8, $9, $1,000 a year for. We obviously never want to get there, but, we have to do what we have to do to keep the sewer plant running well.
Pete, you and your team do an excellent job.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. You're on our agenda next meeting. Okay, we're going to jump into the committee reports. First is Planning and Zoning Committee, Vice President Rogers.
Sure, only one item tonight is to talk about the maintenance bond discussion for the completion of some of the land development projects.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Vice President. I'm gonna have Brian, our engineer, describe this. I think it's important too, again, educational for our new commissioners. What happens when a land development project is completed? Not just when it's completed for construction piece, but creative items that go on and what Brian's involved in. There will be action items in front of the board. Enter into this maintenance phase projects, which Brian's going to talk about, and he'll explain exactly what that means.
Thanks, Aaron. So when a project gets subdivision land development approval, the applicants enter into an agreement with the township, and they have to post escrow money, which basically funds the construction of the public improvements. There are 3 projects that will be on the agenda next meeting rather, that are done. When projects are completed, our office goes out, we do inspection throughout the course of the construction, and oversee what's going on. And then as the work gets done, the developers request money back from the escrow accounts until there's literally almost nothing left. We go out, do a final inspection, and make sure, as Aaron referred to, we make sure all the outside agency matters have been addressed. And when that's all done, we prepare correspondence to the township that basically says, at this point in time, we're certifying that the project is complete and that they can enter into the 18-month maintenance period. And basically, in that 18 months, the developers are required to post other funds that are 15% of the construction cost. That money sits in escrow for the 18 months, basically gives the improvements a chance to basically see, it's 18 months to see, make sure there's no settlement underneath any of the paving, make sure the pipes are all good. We go out towards the end of that 18 months and do another inspection, and then once that's all done, we'll recommend that the project be signed off completely. But in order to enter into the maintenance period, in addition to our recommendation for completion, the board will have resolutions in front of you to sign and officially start that period. So John and Kristen's office is preparing the resolutions that will be on the next agenda.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Anything else, Bob?
Nope, that's it for tonight.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Public Works Committee, Aaron, I think you have this one just for tonight, though.
Sure. Thanks, Mr. President. The Public Works Committee met before tonight's meeting and discussed some of the items that we do annually at this time of the year, which are, we bid out our largest project, which is our road paving program that we do annually, as well as our accessible ramps that are associated with the road paving project, all the chemicals associated with the aquatic center, fuel for the vehicles, also heating fuel. This year we're going to prepare a bid as well for our leaf pickup program, which is in the fall. Over the years, it finally has hit, as of 23, it went above our threshold of us just getting quotes. We have to bid that service. Bidding that as well, and we may that as a 3-year service to try to get one vendor over the period of time, but we're working those details out. Again, commissioners, over the past several years have committed to funding road improvements and significant over those years. I think when you drive through Hatfield, it's apparent that the roads here are in very good condition. Go out to bid. We'll show the roads when it's awarded that are paved in 2024 to make sure the bids come in at a price. We don't want to talk about the roads being paved if we're not going to be on the final list. So we discussed them at a committee level earlier tonight, and then at the end of March, the commissioners will be in a projects, including the roads. So again, we budget about $800,000 a year to research throughout the township.
So for tonight, we would just need a motion for approval to authorize the bids.
Authorize the bids, please.
All right. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Andrus,
Second.
second by Vice President Rogers. This is a motion to authorize the bids for road paving, heating fuel, vehicle fuel, pool chemicals, ADA ramps, and leaf pickup program. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Okay. Going to jump right into Parks and Recreation Committee. Commissioner Lestraka.
President. First, I just want to go over some programs, the Get Fit classes. There are a lot of options. You can also check this out on our website. Winter fitness classes include Zumba, that's Sundays Sundays at 9 a.m. Winter session 2 is March 10th to April 21st, no class on March 31st. The remix class is Mondays at 7 p.m. Winter session 2 will be March 11th to April 22nd, no class on April 1st. Also a yoga class, that's Thursdays, 7 p.m. The winter session 2 will be March 14th through April 25th with no class on March 28th or on April 4th. And all of those classes will take place here, Hatfield Township Administration Building. And then some upcoming events that we have going on for Earth Day. We're going to have a special scheduled event on Saturday, April 27th. There will be 2 collection sites which will operate from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Public Works Complex. They'll have shredding there, and then Clean Earth. We will also host several cleanup sites throughout Hatfield Township, parks, trails, and open space. If you're interested in volunteering, you can email Brody, is that right? At hatfield.org, abroudy@hatfield.org if you'd like to volunteer. And there'll be more details on our website. Also with our Earth Day pop-up event, that again is April 27th, that's a Saturday. We will be kicking that off with an event to take place 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And there'll be more details about the activities, location, also on our website, and I'll probably be sharing that as well. And then also just make sure you're checking out Hatfield Township on Facebook and check out our website for more pop-up events. Thank you.
Nice. It's a busy February report. That's good. All right. So, Aaron, I think you have the next item under Parks and Rec, which is the redevelopment.
Yes, thanks, Mr. President. So exciting night for people who are a fan of the parks in the township and a project that we've been working on for a long time. Back probably 8 years ago. It actually goes back far enough to where our previous Parks and Rec director, Nancy Stock, applied for funding right before I arrived to get a grant to plan a new park. So we had a planning grant that goes back that far. We had a master plan process, which I know family members, neighbors, we went through a whole public process of what we want the Clemens Park to be. Because we have School Road Park, which is pretty developed. Clemens at the time was small, and over those years, the commissioners have quadrupled the size of Clemens Park by acquiring more property. We partnered with the Garden of Health, and now it was what do we do? How do we make that park better for our community? So, and again, the planning process is fun. You hear a lot of feedback, but in the end, it's can you afford it? So the ideas were amazing, and in the end, where we landed was we need a playground for children of all abilities, something that we don't have now. So we're going to be putting in an inclusive playground We need a bathroom, a public bathroom. We need more parking. So let me have Christmas lights going there. So our existing park that everyone is familiar with, this property with a road that goes through a stormwater basin, which is something not many people can explain why that happened, but we're going to fix that. Again, this project was picked up, or this property was picked up by the commissioners in the last few years. We partnered with the Garden of Health, and now they're growing thousands of pounds of vegetables for low-income families throughout our region. The area was picked up by the township, and actually, Mr. Masser in the audience was one of our committee members in the master plan over the years to plan what was going to go on here. So this is what it is today, and in the next picture, it's an engineering picture, so it's not pretty, but it'll give you a sense on what we're doing. So the road itself that goes through a basin will be removed, and that basin will be a basin. It will be naturalized as it is today, but it will be the entire piece of it, what it was originally designed for. The new entranceway then will be similar to where the driveway was to the old Nolan property that was there. So there'll be a new driveway, another basin that was added because of the impervious that we're adding. A new sign, new gateway, new trees all along Fairgrounds, a connection with a trail or a sidewalk. We're still figuring out if it will be asphalt or concrete that will connect with the residents along Fairgrounds Road and other places. New parking area that will be used for people that are coming to the playground, bathroom, could be but also for the garden. Our partnership with the garden was important to add features that would help them with their fundraisers and their volunteers. So this purple area is parking. This area here will be the playground, this large rectangle. This here will be a public bathroom. And a trail connection here as we reroute the entranceway for the vehicles to get to the existing parking on this side, as well as the addition of a trail here. We hear from, and I appreciate Commissioner Partha's help as we meet with the neighbors in that area when we want to install this trail. One of the things we hear from neighbors over there is everyone walks through my yard when they go to the park. They don't want to walk around. I think all of us take the easiest path at times. So there is township property conveniently there between some homes. So that will be a actual paved trail with a fence and some landscaping to allow all the neighbors from up there to get to the park without having to go around. So all of these features we think will be an improvement. This isn't exactly how the master plan finished years ago. That plan was much more ambitious, but as we went into the cost estimate phase of the project, we had to be more sensible with spending taxpayer money. And so we're finally at the position. And one other note to the playground too, we've been working with a local family who years ago unfortunately lost their child, and we're going to name the playground after the child. We talked to the commissioners a few years ago about that, and everyone agreed that that was the right thing to do. It's a family that has a lot of experience with Colmer Fire Department and other public services, so we're working on the signage and the language for that to honor this young man who lost his life far too early. So that's another feature. Tonight, if the board can authorize the bids, we finally get to move into the next phase. We hope construction this summer, and we hope the fall to be completed with a new park where we'll be cutting a ribbon. I'm not sure if we'll do a groundbreaking for this, but we'll be cutting ribbons hopefully by the end of a park. So we anticipate the cost to be roughly $2 million. There's a lot of utility work. There's a lot of cost associated with the earthwork. We have a grant from DCNR. We have other contributions from some of the land developments that have come in that area. We're going to pursue additional money, and then we also have some funds that the commissioners have earmarked over the years from some federal money from the stimulus money, as well as a few other areas that we've identified over the years to help supplement this. So we're finally there. Took a long time. I appreciate it. I'm asking for the update, and we don't often get updates on these projects. They take a long time, but we're there to bid it, and next month we can award a good number and get this thing moving.
Exciting.
Yeah, it's great.
It's been in the making, and now it's here. So, questions or comments?
There's a house next to the next basin, so our township has already acquired that one.
So that home
Yeah.
is currently privately owned. We have had discussions with them about someday possibly acquiring that house. They're not interested in selling at this time. As everyone knows, the fire company is right next door, and there's containers and training, and it, not be the greatest place. And they have expressed interest at some point talking to us about that fold into the park. At this point, though, Commissioner, they're interested in staying. They're aware of what's going on. We keep them updated, and at some point, it may be something require over time.
This goes back to what we talked about at our last meeting, when we have developers that really don't have an area for open space or to put a playground in, that we take that money and we put it towards our main parks so that everybody can enjoy it, so.
Correct. Exactly.
All right, any other questions or comments? All right, there is on our agenda is a motion for approval to authorize the bids for Clemens Park redevelopment. Is there such a motion?
Moved. Second.
Commissioner Andrus made the motion, Commissioner Lustraco made the second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. All right, that's a very big deal. It's a big step forward. All right, just a quick update for a Public Safety Committee update. On February 28th at the Board of Commissioners meeting, we'll be having a swearing in and a badge presentation for a number of people in the police department. So those of you who do not know, we have 10 officers who have been hired since COVID hit. 8 are now present and working on the street. These officers unfortunately did not receive a public swearing in, which they could share with the board and their families. So we're going to do that for them on the 28th of February. We'll also be swearing in some officers who had been promoted recently, along with one prior promotion. And lastly, all our officers will receive a new Hatfield Police Department badge, one of which hasn't been updated in over 40 years, is what I understand. So we have a short timer, someone who's only been with us just a brief period of time. All in all, it's going to be a big night for not only the township, but their families and those who support what is really the best police department around. So, Chief, we're looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a really great night. Okay. All right. Let's jump in the Finance Committee. Commissioner Andrus.
Yes, just a couple updates. Township has begun its annual audit and balance of this week for items from 2023. Speaking of 2023, the township had another very strong year financially. We budgeted $12.5 million for expenses from the general fund, and our actual expenses came in at $12.08 million. Another year is coming under the budget. A ton of credit goes to Dave Braunhauser, Finance Director, for forecasting analysis during the budget season. As for revenues, we budgeted $12.1 million and finished the year with $13.4 million. The main factor for the higher projected revenue was a transfer tax. Came in at $1.2 million, where we had only budgeted $600,000. This was due to several large real estate transactions of commercial properties in the township. And as always, we budget those items conservatively. We don't want to overestimate what the budget is or the revenue is, so we don't find ourselves in a bind. Another good news, the township's bond rating was recently upgraded to AA from AA minus. So we now have a better rating than Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Fantastic news. Thank you.
All right. Township Manager's Report. A couple of items, if you don't mind jumping into those.
Thank you, Mr. President. One housekeeping item, too. We are in the process of buying new microphones.
Oh.
Funds for that. We even the person that does our minutes is having a hard time picking us up. And a little extra time. Right, point right into that microphone.
I don't need one.
We may not want to know what you're saying over there, but
Right.
so hopefully in a few months we'll have a whole new setup that is a little more.
Probably since the building.
It is correct. Yeah. So we have some upgrades. So thanks, Mr. President. Just a few items to update the board on and move our larger project forward. First is our annual report that we do time each year, just looking at our building, zoning, and code department, just some data to just show the commissioners how busy that department is, which really does tie into some of the revenue items with other items associated with permits and construction, and just it's active town right now. Don Delamater, our department head now for about 18 months, which reports to Scott Hutt, our assistant township manager. We have a third party building code official, which is Keystone Municipal. Team members, fire marshal, which we have here periodically, updating the board on some items, and our code enforcement officer, Mike, both Mikes, 2 full-time admin positions, part-time admin position, then we have a part-time fire inspector who inspects commercial properties throughout the year. We issued over 2,200 permits in 2023. A lot of moving parts to that department, a very busy department, a lot of phone calls, a lot of visits, a lot of administrative processing and inspecting and information. A lot goes on in that department. 539 building permits alone, 346 use and occupancy permits. So when you're selling and buying your house, our inspectors are out there to make sure there's no life safety issues with the homes. A lot of work done on for us to prevent issues down the road, which is the point of those types of inspections. Just some other items, and a lot of this is done by 1 or 2 people. Inspections, 1 person, Mike McCann, over 2,000 apartment inspections every year. Mike runs marathons and is in much better shape than me and most people, but he walks 30,000 steps a day sometimes when he's hitting the apartments, the Hatfield Village and Brookside and Valley Stream, but make sure that there are no issues, health and life safety standpoint. There's actually about close to 1,500 businesses in Hatfield Township, believe it or not, and we try to inspect each of those every 2 years, up to the current codes for fire alarms and emergency exits and some other electric code, to be code compliant on the electrical end. Again, life safety. And our businesses are very cooperative and have been very good to work with as far as making the needed upgrades. A lot of construction inspections, and again, everything the fire companies do, Mike and Mike are there and assisting them with it, whatever they need. So busy department. Last year we had 2,300 permits issued, so things are not slowing down at all in that department. So they do a fantastic job, and I think it's important to point that out publicly. Item number 2, we talked about this in December when the board awarded associated with the police station project. 1 bid was rejected by the board because of the recommendation from our construction manager for the electrical work for the police station. They felt that we only had 2 bidders at the time, and the number was much higher than they anticipated. So we did go back out to bid for the electric work, and it did come in $460,000 less than our initial bid. We had 5 bidders this time. We had more questions. Boyle Construction was able to give some clarity to the bidders. So thankfully, the board's in a position tonight to award the electrical work associated with the police station to AJM Electrical for a savings of $500,000. So that was the right move, without question.
No doubt. I mean, having a savings like that is greatly appreciated. So, so we need to make a motion and award it this evening, right? Okay. Is there a motion to award the bid to AJM Electrical Inc. in the amount of $1,882,415 as recommended by the construction manager, Boyle Construction?
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Rogers.
Second?
Second by Commissioner Andrus. Questions or comments? Hearing none, I will call the question. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. And I think that is our last bid for that construction project, right?
On that note, yeah, you're correct, Mr. President, but a great segue into number 3, and thank you for approving that so we can move that forward. Number 3, so the vast majority of the bids are now done, but in the vast majority of authorizations for certain expenses is done for the. However, there will be more expenses coming our way as we move forward. Specifically, 2 weeks from now on the agenda, there will be some of the items that we decided to purchase rather than bid. CoStar's program, which is a state cooperative purchasing program, to make things a little easier. So some of the items which will be on the agenda, soil testing contract, which is considered a professional service, does not need to be bid. Items to fit out the range that's associated with the police station is in the packet for you to, that will be on the agenda in 2 weeks for approval. Again, not needed to bid, purchased through CoStars, but costs associated with the police station. So there will be some more items that the board will consider, but 95% of them have been approved. Things will come up obviously during construction, but last big ticket items before we move, actually moving dirt, hopefully in a month.
Okay. All right.
So nothing tonight on item 3. 2 weeks, you'll see those items to be separately with the price pointed out and the invoice packet.
All right. Anything else?
That's all I have, Commissioners. Thanks for
Right.
your time.
Solicitor's report. Here, Mr. Solicitor, we appreciate it. It's warmer now than it was when we first started. Much warmer. Citizens' comments. Any citizens' comments on non-agenda items? All right. Anything else for the good of the order? If not, I will then entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there such a motion? Motion by Commissioner Andrus.
Second.
Second by Vice President Rogers. Any questions or comments? All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, we're adjourned. Thanks for coming out, folks.